I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, with these high prices combined with the carbon pricing as well, I think right wing populists, anti climate, yellow vest style protests are quite likely, and that can kind of take us in two directions. One is to say, to hell with these climate measures. We want cheap energy, burn whatever you want. And the other option is to go nuclear. It seems to be as stark as that. It seems like most of the nuclear renaissance historically has had to do, either with being a first adopter of the technology, but also with really expensive fossil fuel prices. That's what drove it in France, and that's, I think, what drove it in Japan or Korea. And we haven't even talked about price spikes in natural gas in Asia, for instance. But if you're having to ship in fossil fuels because you don't have them, obviously you're a victim of that. And I mean, that was my conversation with Mark Kawangho in Philippines, is just the extreme price of imported fossil fuels. So just maybe in closing, are we locked into higher natural gas prices going forward, given what we've described in terms of some of the characteristics of the fuel and the financing, in terms of the way that climate change is affecting financing? What do you think? Is this just a scarcity? Is it a geopolitics? Is it a climate politics? Is it the characteristics of the fuel? Are we locked into this, or could gas get cheap again and things will sort of carry on as they've been for the last 10 or 15 years?
What the fracking boom should tell anyone is that your expectations can always be dashed. Like, there's always something out there that could change everything. A lot of observers I've seen that themselves take that view and take a long view seem to think that we're entering a period of structurally expensive natural gas. That fracking boom cost Wall Street hundreds of billions. Like, it didn't, they made too much gas all at once. It wasn't coordinated production under one oil czar, gas czar, like in other countries. USA is the only country with private ownership of mineral rights, and people pumped as much as they could. Well, that was a very new and expensive lesson for a lot of investors, unless they're willing to plunge back into something like that collective madness of ultra cheap production where you can't cover your fracking costs, shall we say. Then I think we may enter an era when, the price hits $4 at Henry Hub and just stays up there. Now, I'm not going to be some big dork and say, yeah, it's expensive forever, because in which case, be my guest, Chris. We can fund all of our nuclear activities by just making bets on the gas market and betting that it's not going to get cheap again. And anyway, I'm not going to be putting my money into gas. I'm not going to get involved in that. So I'm not going to predict that it's going to stay a certain way. What I do think nuclear advocates could point out is that the current ultra-high wholesale prices, the current ultra-high natural gas prices, prove that ultra-high gas and ultra-high electricity prices can occur. They can occur. They are occurring, so they can occur. And that the only way to make money off of the suckers who don't build nuclear is to have your own nuclear and not need to burn natural gas, whether you produce it or not. I think that natural gas has proven it can be expensive. It has proven it can be in short supply. And that's enough. That's enough to fight on.